All right. So some of the questions for this week, we'll start off here with one from Awadapav, who was asking, can we set a daily max profit and stop loss so that when an account reaches that limit, it will not execute the next trades?
Yeah, so this is an example of the type of feedback that we get that we've heard several times, and we prioritize around. I do think that there's an opportunity to set like a daily max drawdown from a profit and loss perspective. That could also work. So that would be the kind of thing where once your account balance reaches some dollar amount of increase from the previous day, maybe we trigger it to where trades are no longer accepted and we close your existing positions out. That's certainly something I think we could explore. We'll tool around with what that might look like, but um, glad to see the question here so that it sort of gets prioritized a little bit higher. Um, in terms of it not executing the next trades, I think that's where it gets a little tricky, right? Like your preferences for how we should manage your account at that point can be pretty interesting. It can either reject the next set of incoming trades and or also close out any existing positions, and or maybe it doesn't close out those positions but instead just rejects those trades. So I think there are a few different options that we'd have to explore and like maybe give you some support around, and you can configure it to your liking. We've kind of seen that with the trading window feature, where some people are like, okay, great, I only want it to trade within this window. That would be entries and exits. But we've actually since started to modify that so that in some cases users wanted to be able to enter within the window, but then they want to exit during outside of the window. So the preferences that everybody has seems to change slightly, and so we'll do our best to accommodate all the different ways that can be done.
So get this, I've had at least 3 requests from clients who've asked me over the last couple of years if I could implement a system where not only does the max profit or loss trigger, but it prevents the account from actually ever trading. And that, like, literally you can no longer, if you wanted to, you couldn't actually get into the system because they needed something to stop them emotionally from trading.
Yeah.
And I said, well, wouldn't you need me to put a system in place that not only did it prevent you from doing anything, if you tried some roundabout way where you opened up a position in your account in some other way, it would
Mhm.
automatically close that
Just close
position.
it out.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, yeah, can I have that? Can I have that? And
I I find
but
that fascinating. I really do. I think this idea of predicting your future self is actually really intelligent. You might say, well, maybe you just need to get a handle on your emotions. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let me work on my emotions. Sure. I think it's great to try to plan for your future self. And so tools like that prevent the possibility that your anxious, sort of stressed, maybe on tilt future self might try to do something that circumvents your risk strategy. I think tools like that are great. I've wanted to implement something around like a max drawdown strategy where at any point in your account, if you've tipped past a max drawdown point, that would either pause the account entirely or maybe switch to another position sizing strategy, right? So like just like Kelly criterion, you can sometimes just trade half Kelly or a quarter Kelly or a tenth Kelly. So maybe in this case it would trigger an event to reduce your position sizes by half or a quarter, so that instead of taking full lots, you're taking a much smaller position size. I know you and I have talked about that, where one way to circumvent risk is just reduce your position size. Get a much smaller position in play. Then you can still get the satisfaction of taking the trade, but not lose as much in the process.
I've been doing a prop firm challenge with FTMO, and so you have the cost that you're paying for the challenge itself, and so that to me is my risk, right? Even though I'm trading the position within the account, I'm not losing anything more than the cost of the challenge that I'm taking. And I find myself doing the thing where I'm like, let's say I'm in a losing position, I want a revenge trade. I go, well, it doesn't matter if I take a $10,000 position right now, because all I could really lose is the cost for the challenge, and I could just buy another challenge tomorrow.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I that feeling I know exactly is I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna lose this account, and I'm just gonna keep doing this again and again
Okay.
because I get to take this huge position and have limited downside. And that's why I was like, okay, this is not working for me. I need to have some other way of mitigate. Like, I like the idea that my other self is like, hey, let me see a way of sneaking around Tom's like risk prevention mechanisms and introduce new volatility into what he has to do, so that you're always adapting. It's always adapting to me to try to get me to blow up my account.
Yeah. So we kind of have like the angel and demon on our shoulders, right? There's the guy who's trying to make you money, and then there's the guy who's trying to circumvent your success and get a huge drawdown in your account.
I tell my wife that it's like I have one voice that says, uh, "Jump off that bridge right now," and then the other voice goes, "Hey, don't you think it would be a good idea if you jumped off the bridge?" Like, very calm and
This could be
very
fun, right?
specific. Yeah,
Like, think
right.
about the initial thrill.